Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's update is one you won't want to miss, because starting in October, millions of seniors and disability beneficiaries could see larger direct deposits landing right in their bank accounts. That's right, if you're relying on Social Security, SSI, or SSDI, there are new changes on the way that could mean extra money in your pocket. For many, this increase could be the difference between barely getting by and finally being able to cover those rising costs of groceries, rent, or medications. I know so many of you have been waiting for good news, and today, we're going to break down exactly what's happening, why these payments are going up, and most importantly when you can expect to see the money arrive. So here's my question to you: are you ready for bigger checks this October, and do you know how these changes will affect your benefits? Stick around, because I've got the full breakdown coming up. If you're finding this information valuable so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Let's start with what's probably on everyone's mind right now: the direct deposit changes coming this October. Many of you have been reaching out to me, asking whether these changes will affect your payment schedule or if there's anything you need to do to prepare. The good news is, I've done all the research for you, and I'm here to break it down in simple terms that everyone can understand. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, there are going to be some significant payment increases coming up. The Social Security Administration has been working behind the scenes to adjust payments to keep up with the rising cost of living. But here's something many people don't realize: these increases aren't just arbitrary numbers. They're carefully calculated based on something called the Consumer Price Index, which basically measures how much prices are increasing for everyday items like food, housing, and healthcare. Now, you might be wondering, how much more money are we talking about? Well, that's where things get interesting. The exact amount will vary depending on your current benefit level, but I'm going to share some real numbers with you today. And let me tell you, some of these increases might surprise you in a good way. Speaking of surprising changes, let's talk about direct deposits for a moment. Many of you know that direct deposit is the safest and most reliable way to receive your benefits. But did you know that the Social Security Administration is making some important changes to how these deposits are processed? These changes are designed to make the system more efficient and secure, which is something we can all appreciate in this day and age. One question I've been getting a lot lately is, will these changes affect when I receive my payment? The short answer is that for most people, your regular payment schedule will stay the same. However, there are some important exceptions that you need to be aware of, especially if you receive both SSI and Social Security benefits. I'll explain exactly how this works in just a minute. Let's dive into the specifics of the SSI changes first. Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, is a vital program that helps millions of Americans with limited income and resources. The upcoming changes to SSI payments are particularly significant because they're designed to help beneficiaries keep up with increasing living costs. If you're an SSI recipient, you'll want to pay close attention to this next part. One thing that's crucial to understand about these SSI updates is how they interact with other benefits you might be receiving. For example, if you're getting both SSI and Social Security retirement benefits, the way these payments coordinate is changing slightly. This could actually work in your favor, but you need to understand how the system works to make sure you're getting everything you're entitled to. Now, let's talk about SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. This program is different from SSI, and the changes affecting SSDI recipients have some unique aspects that I need to explain. If you're receiving SSDI benefits, you might have noticed that keeping up with inflation has been challenging lately. Well, the upcoming changes are aimed at addressing this exact issue. Here's something that many SSDI recipients don't realize: the October changes aren't just about payment amounts. There are also some important updates to how certain types of income affect your benefits. This is particularly relevant if you're trying to return to work while receiving SSDI, or if you have any other sources of income. Let's address another common question I've been getting: what about Medicare premiums? As many of you know, Medicare premiums are often deducted directly from Social Security payments. The relationship between these two programs is important to understand, especially with the upcoming changes. I'm going to explain how these adjustments might affect your net benefit amount. Something that's particularly exciting about the October changes is how they might affect back payments and retroactive benefits. If you've recently been approved for benefits or had an adjustment to your payment amount, this is something you'll definitely want to understand. The way these calculations are being handled is changing slightly, and it could mean additional money for some beneficiaries. Here's a real-world example to help illustrate these changes. Let's say you're currently receiving $1,000 in monthly benefits. With the upcoming adjustments, your payment could increase by a certain percentage. But here's where it gets interesting: the actual increase might be larger than you expect when you factor in all the different components that go into calculating your benefits. One aspect of these changes that isn't getting enough attention is how they affect survivors' benefits. If you're receiving benefits as a surviving spouse or dependent, these updates could have a significant impact on your monthly payments. The calculations for survivors' benefits are being adjusted to better reflect current economic conditions. Let's talk about something that's causing some confusion: the difference between the regular cost of living adjustment, COLA, and these special October changes. While they're related, they're not exactly the same thing. Understanding the distinction is crucial because it affects how much your benefits might increase and when these increases will take effect. Here's a point that I really want to emphasize: these changes aren't happening in isolation. They're part of a broader effort to modernize and improve the Social Security system. This includes updates to how benefits are calculated, how payments are processed, and how information is shared with beneficiaries. These improvements are designed to make the system more efficient and responsive to beneficiaries' needs. Now, let's address some concerns about payment security. With any changes to the payment system, it's natural to worry about whether your benefits will be delivered safely and on time. I want to reassure you that the Social Security Administration has put numerous safeguards in place to protect your payments during this transition period. One question that keeps coming up is about what beneficiaries need to do to prepare for these changes. The good news is that for most people, you won't need to take any special action. The updates will be implemented automatically. However, there are a few situations where you might need to update your information or take specific steps to ensure you receive the full benefit of these changes. Let's talk about the timing of these changes. While the major updates are coming in October, some aspects of these changes will be phased in gradually. This is actually a good thing because it helps ensure a smooth transition and gives everyone time to adjust to the new system. I'll explain exactly what to expect and when. Something that's particularly important to understand is how these changes might affect different age groups differently. Whether you're a senior who's been receiving benefits for years, or you're just about to become eligible, these updates could impact you in different ways. I'm going to break down what you need to know based on your specific situation. Here's an interesting aspect of these changes that many people overlook: the impact on supplemental benefits and special payments. If you receive any additional benefits beyond your regular Social Security payment, such as state supplements or special payments, these updates might affect how these various benefits interact with each other. Let's discuss something practical: how these changes might affect your budget planning. With increased payments coming, it's a good time to review your financial planning and make sure you're making the most of these additional funds. I'll share some practical tips for managing these changes effectively. One concern that some beneficiaries have expressed is about how these changes might affect their eligibility for other assistance programs. This is an important consideration, especially if you receive benefits like SNAP, food stamps, or housing assistance. I'll explain how these Social Security changes interact with other benefit programs. Here's something that's particularly relevant for those of you who help manage benefits for someone else. If you're a representative payee, there are some specific things you need to know about these changes. The responsibilities of representative payees are being updated slightly, and it's important to understand these modifications. Let's address another common question: what happens if there are any problems or delays with these new payment processes? The Social Security Administration has established specific procedures for handling any issues that might arise during this transition. I'll explain what to do if you encounter any problems and how to get help if you need it. Something that's worth mentioning is how these changes reflect broader trends in the economy and social policy. Understanding this context can help you better anticipate future changes and make more informed decisions about your benefits. I'll explain how these updates fit into the bigger picture. Here's an important point about communication: the Social Security Administration will be sending out notices about these changes. But it's crucial to know what to look for and how to distinguish official communications from potential scams. I'll share some tips on protecting yourself from fraud while staying informed about these updates. Let's talk about some resources that are available to help you understand and adapt to these changes. Whether you prefer online tools, phone support, or in-person assistance, there are various ways to get help with any questions or concerns you might have about these updates. One final aspect that I want to cover is how these changes might affect your long-term financial planning. While the immediate impact of increased payments is obviously important, it's also worth considering how these changes might influence your financial decisions in the coming years. As we wrap up this discussion about the October changes, I want to emphasize a few key points. First, these updates are generally positive news for beneficiaries, bringing increased payments and improved processing systems. Second, while the changes are significant, they're being implemented in a way that minimizes disruption to beneficiaries. And finally, there are plenty of resources available if you need help understanding or adapting to these changes. I hope this information has been helpful in understanding the important changes coming to Social Security, SSI, and SSDI benefits. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might benefit from this information. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates on benefits and financial news. Drop your questions in the comments below. I read every single one and try to address them in future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.